Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Good morning, Guam, and thanks for starting your day the KUAM way starting lineup. Group chat. My name is Chris Barnett. I'm here at the Guard Readiness Center with Major Joe Blas. Morning, Major.
Good morning.
And we're talking about Operation Vigilant Guard. I know you guys have seen out there the troops just exercising. Don't freak out. It's all an exercise, right?
Absolutely. It's all an exercise to test how the National Guard works with federal responders to react to a natural disaster. But it is an exercise, so nobody freak out.
Yeah, this is just a drill. And so you were talking about this before we went on, and so basically this the last time this type of training happened on Guam was about 10 years ago, right?
Yes, that's correct. So about every 8 to 10 years in every state or territory, they will conduct this exercise.
And so this is an exercise to see how well the Guard works with the active duty and the Homeland Security folks, right?
Right, a ton of actual local and federal responders. So a lot of the scenarios are driven so we can interact with a lot of those responders.
Let's go ahead and get the cast of characters that we have here participating in these exercises.
Well, it's all the Guam National Guard, but we also have Guard units from Utah, Washington, California, Hawaii, and I believe New Mexico and Nevada. So they came out with their CST units and also other units called the HERF and the SURF, which is much larger units that respond to biological.
Major, I know you're dropping the acronyms, but for the military acronym impaired out there, SURF, HERF, and CSTs. Right. What does that mean?
Well, CST, they're the smaller 22-person units, and they stand for a civil support team. And they handle, on our island or whatever state they're at, they handle any chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear events that might happen. So if the fire department responds and they think they need a little more assistance, they'll contact the CST to come out and help.
How about the SURF and the HERF?
The SURF is a Sea Bernie unit, a much larger, about a 274-person unit. So not only do they have what CSTs have, but they have command control, communications, medical units, and then the HERF is a Homeland Response Force, which is more than a 500 unit or member unit, and they can just almost set up a bear-based site and be able to respond to a big emergency.
Yeah, and so there's just so many facets to this training, from maintaining the site and checking for the hazards, which the CSTs and the SURF and the HERF I guess, to do. But then also the medic side, right? Setting up your staging area and assessing the triage.
Yes, the triage, the decontamination, if there is any chemical or biological radiation or anything like that, that they need to ensure that the patients or even the responders are taken care of before they're released from the site.
And so how long we've been doing this training? Is this day 2?
This started last Wednesday with a soft start. So this whole exercise is centered around a typhoon, a super typhoon, similar to what we had years ago, Typhoon Pongsonghua. It's a big, so when the National Weather Service said, hey, we're gonna have a typhoon, we started mobilizing everybody. So over the weekend is when the typhoon hit. And then on Monday, we started having scenarios which we're responding to right now.
And so what was the scenario yesterday? And then I guess we'll get to what today's scenario is.
Right. So yesterday, we actually had an explosion of the fuel farms at Port Authority of Guam. And we had our 85th CST out of Utah respond there after GFD Hazmat did their thing.
And so that kind of reminds me of there was a typhoon way back where we had a situation where one of the fuel tanks actually did explode and catch on fire.
Absolutely. So when NORTHCOM was putting this exercise together, they said, what is the biggest natural disaster that they could have so we could respond to the way we should? And they thought that, hey, that was a good one, and it wouldn't hurt to practice it again. Because if it does happen, we want to respond to it. Of course, at that time, we really didn't know what to do.
Right. And that's what the Guam guys are probably like, hey, we've been here, done this, we got this.
Right. So, the more we do these exercises, the more we respond to it. And if you see these guys respond, they're going to respond like it's a real world event. So, in fact, if a real world event does happen, then we'll know exactly what to do. And for the people of Guam, they can rest assured that we'll do it right.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Just watched The Angel Has Fallen last night, and in the words of Gerard Butler, train like it's real.
Absolutely, just like in sports you practice as you play. This one we're practicing exactly as we play, and when you see them respond, they're not messing around. They're going to do exactly what they need to do, and in the end, we're going to have an after-action report, and they're going to say, "This is what you did right, but this is what we need to fix, so in the future we'll get it right."
And so, how much that after-action report, knowing there's consequences to this training, how much prep do the local components do before we head into these exercises?
Oh my God, we've I think been setting this up for more than 2 years.
Wow.
And in the last few months, we've really been, getting into it to make sure we had everything we need so we can make this a successful training opportunity.
And so then what's that like to prep for this for 2 years? And now, I mean, it's happening.
At the beginning, everybody goes, yeah, it's coming, we're doing what we need to do. But as it gets closer, we realize that if we don't prepare properly, we're not going to be able to play properly. And then we won't really know what we did right or wrong.
Can we shoot them with the injury makeup?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so Major, this is kind of one of the cool, I know you probably didn't think much of this, but for us, this is pretty cool. So you have these civilian participants taking part of these exercises, and we talk about train real. They're getting done up in some makeup here, not zombies.
Not
right?
zombies.
Not zombies.
Well, just like everything else, the players have to look real. Otherwise, the responders will not be able to know exactly how to respond. So when they see an injury that looks the way it should, they'll be able to respond the way they should. Well, we hope so. And if not, hey, that's why we're out here, so we can get it right next time.
I'm going to let Jason geek out on some of these visuals. And who are these? What do? You put out an ad on Facebook like, hey, do you know how to make an ouchie?
Well, we didn't put out an ad, but there was a company that was contracted to put out an ad. But maybe you can ask them how they feel about participating.
Yeah, let's go. So, ma'am,
Have a day.
pretty interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here?
Yeah, this is moulage. It's makeup that's designed to simulate actual wounds, and these are local makeup artists. And we've all been working here with different types of wounds, from gaping head wounds to cuts and abrasions, minor things. And these are all local people that have been hired for this opportunity. Really great.
Is this like a local company that?
No, this is Domain Solutions. They're out of Virginia.
Okay.
And this is what they do. They set up drills and simulated plane crashes,
Right,
natural
yeah.
disasters, all sorts of stuff. And yesterday we were doing a chemical spill. And so hopefully we are creating some chemical burns and things like that to show the responders what to do.
Is there a training or something that these local?
You know what?
guys- yeah,
These
let me-
guys,
yeah, okay.
this is Brittany, and
Let's go
Brittany
talk to
went
Brittany,
through
yeah.
the training. Right, Britt? So Britt is our...
Hey, sorry, let me
Are
get
you-
Brittany. Brittany, so you're the lead makeup doer here.
Fun.
We're live on Facebook.
Hi.
Yeah, we are. So say hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
And what are you cooking up on this guy's arm? That looks really gross.
I'm doing a second-degree burn on him.
So did you do any kind of training for this, or how does this work? Or were you just like really handy with the makeup?
Actually, Skippy had us train on Monday with him. It was a great opportunity. He's a really great teacher, and he showed us how to work with silicone, some latex, even the alcohol palette, which is the one I'm using right now.
That just looks really gross. And that's supposed to represent kind of like bubbling, pussy skin, right?
Yeah.
Pustules. How you feeling right now?
Feeling good.
Well, you're getting a lot of thumbs up and hearts on Facebook, so Facebook is loving you guys.
I gotta tell you, these are the guys you check next Halloween. You book it now. And so, Major Joe, these guys are getting ready because you guys have a very interesting component of the exercise going on today involving a collapsed hotel, right?
Absolutely. So yesterday, the hotel collapsed, and Guam Fire came out to provide support. And so now they believe that there's been a chemical spill. So they're going to be calling out our CST, or the SURFs and the
This
HERFs.
is a drill.
And this is still an exercise to come and respond to that.
And so that's why we have these people getting done up with chemical burns and other types of injuries you would see in the, event that a
Absolutely.
hotel would collapse.
You know, in some of the past exercises, they used mannequins, but they realized by using real people, they're better able to respond and to do what needs to be done, or to learn to do what needs to be done.
You know, outside looking in, some of this could be traumatizing. You know, I know you guys train for it, but to have these wounds, that to make it that realistic, really, guys and the women in uniform really have to be prepared for this, right?
Absolutely, but then also part of the guard and most of the military units is you have different sections that are trained to help our folks respond, to help them if they believe they have PTSD or other mental illnesses that are a result of maybe responding or deploying or anything like that.
Right.
I know we were talking. First responders in the government of Guam have also been talking about it. And you know, it's real because when you go through any trauma, it doesn't have to be a military trauma, but yeah, you can get PTSD or other symptoms. Absolutely. So we're walking this way. I know the fire department is responding, but if you take a look at it,
Oh,
it looks
wow.
like a very real collapse, and this was built right on our site.
Wow. So build it up to break it down.
Absolutely. But then in the end, we're going to still be able to use our tower for rappelling and stuff. So, you know, we can go as close as the fire department will let us.
And so, can you kind of explain what's happening in this exercise right here?
Okay, like I mentioned yesterday, is a hotel collapse, and they're still setting up for the response of our surf and CST teams. So right now, I believe they're just being told where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing. So yesterday was the collapse site, so today is going to be the response, but it's probably not for another hour, so they're still setting up.
Right. We don't work KUAM. We always come early.
Absolutely. You know, in the military, we say if you're on time, you're late, so early is best.
Not going to make it to more standard time joke here, Major. So, again, with the local agencies, GFD, how valuable is this type of training to guys like in GFD? You know what I mean? Not necessarily in the military, but definitely an important part of what would happen in the event that we had an occurrence like this.
Oh, absolutely. So when anyone calls 911, GFD or GPD, depending on the scenario, will be the first ones to respond. So very important. You know, we're not going to be the first to get to the site. It's going to be GFD. So they need to get here and see what's going on and be able to respond. And then if they need additional assistance, they will go through Homeland Security to be able to call out the National Guard.
And let's talk about, because I know you guys sent the notice out. How many of these exercises are going to be going on out and about outside the
Well,
base?
right now, like I mentioned in Radio Barragata, there's a response to chemical and drug activity. So the CST.
Is this like a meth lab drill?
Yes, absolutely. So they responded early this morning, and they'll probably be there for a couple more hours. And then in response to power outage during the typhoon, of course, we have our soldiers preparing to do traffic control points.
That's an easy one, right?
Right, all along Route 16, but very important.
Yeah.
That's usually one of the first responses that we get because there's a power outage. And then, of course, we have our 105th Troop Command, which is a support unit. They're providing feeding operations for our folks that are responding. So every bit of what the military does, every unit is going to make a difference in this exercise.
I got to ask you on the traffic direction training. Are we training these visiting components from off island on how to dance while they direct the traffic?
Actually, it's all the Guam Guard that's out there doing
All right,
that.
so they got it down.
They got it down pat. With the, of course, we had help from Guam Police Department. So,
Right.
That partnership along with the Guam Fire Department is awesome.
There you go. So I guess we're going to make our way back towards, I know there's a big meeting going on in there. Is it like a briefing?
Every morning we have a joint task force briefing to see where we're at and what we're doing to provide support during this typhoon.
And so we got all the top brass in there. And what type of things are they discussing in there? Is it just kind of like laying out the work that has to be done over the next few exercises?
Absolutely, and they also discuss like maybe what kind of issues or concerns that we don't have or that's happening that we're not able to respond to, and how best to alleviate the situation. So There's a lot going on. Also, like I mentioned, Brigadier General Johnny Lazama, he's the dual status commander.
Right.
So he's working with both Title 10 forces as well as the Title 32, which is National Guard forces.
So that Title 10 is
active duty.
right.
So you have to have a dual status commander that oversees both components and sees how we're able to respond. And you know, with the National Guard and active duty forces, we respond in different ways.
Right.
Title 32 allows the National Guard to respond to even such things as riots, immediate response to natural disasters,
Right.
but we work with our Title 10 forces because they might have resources that we don't.
Right.
So it's a great partnership that we have, just like we do with our local first responders. I'm not sure what's going on here.
We don't know what's going on here. They're probably it's a staging thing, Major.
Probably. Yeah, you know, with the National Guard, we're growing and we're outgrowing our facilities. So, you know, hopefully soon we'll be able to build more.
You're going to expand on this?
We are. So the Navy has recently given us about 100 acres behind us. So between here and Radio Barragata, we're hoping to build up the National Guard facilities and just have more resources right here on the base.
All right. So I guess that means you guys are definitely hiring.
I hope so. Our recruiters are definitely out there in full force, and you know, we're gonna be growing. We'll have some information coming, but we'll definitely be growing both the Air and the Army in the next few years.
And yeah, this is Jason and I's first time inside the Readiness Center. I think it's my first time. I want to say it is. I know Jay is, you know, military brat. So excited being here. And
ROTC 4 years.
ROTC 4 years. I don't know why he's not rocking the uni, but that's a story for another time, I guess.
Physical training outside.
The PT, right?
Jason, you look like you can do PT very well.
Oh, thank you. Clearly, you're going blind.
Got to get a
Clearly
vision
it's
check.
a little more than that, right?
All right, so we're going to go into the assembly hall here, and if that meeting is done, we'd like to get a chance to talk with Brigadier General Lazama.
Yes, absolutely.
And then there's also a Major General that's visiting from Georgia.
Yes, so Major General King is a mentor to General Lazama, just to let him know what we should be doing, what we're doing and what we should be doing, and what we can be doing better or what we're doing right. So this is also where the public or those with benefits can come and get ID cards.
Oh, wow.
So we offer that as well. And then this is part of our family readiness groups or family programs. So in the Guard, we always say the Guard is family, so
Right.
we have a lot of things that we offer to our families to make sure that, you know, we have a balance between family, Guard, and their employer.
Especially with a lot of these deployments that people in the Guard go through.
We can't talk because they're in the middle of the meeting.
You want to just do some B-roll and then we could wrap? Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, so we're going to take you in this meeting, kind of a fly on the wall, but we can't interview anyone because the meeting is ongoing, so we're just going to do some B-roll for you guys.
General, for the class of supply sustainment, no issues as we speak. Thanks for support. For class ones, we're projected to last us for the 22nd. No issues here, General. For JPA, our balance is 952. As we speak, they're talking of our field class. Yes, General. Bottled water, General, no issue there. We have potable water source here.
Yeah.
Run over, that's good. Bad guys, we're going to replenish that. So we have
Well, there you go. Pretty heavy briefing going on in there, Major. Felt like I was in a movie.
Right. So, well, as I mentioned, we're doing everything real world. We'll go this way. So we want to make sure that if they're briefing on supply status or vehicle status or damage status, everything is very real. So because when, you know, if the exercise really happens, we don't want anybody to say, "Oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to brief." We want to make sure that, yeah. So they're even briefing, you know, simulated injuries or it's just people not showing up. Thanks, Mr. Park. We're gonna go in. Okay, we're gonna go
All right,
in.
we're going to go in here. Yeah, that's definitely something that is interesting to see, Major, is the different components from, we just saw that briefing to the triage area to the collapse hotel, even to the feeding, right?
Yes,
They can't forget to
absolutely.
eat.
And then in another room here, we also have the Joint Operations Center. So when we get calls from Homeland Security, it comes straight there. And then they see what kind of support we need to do. And then it will go to the JTF, which you just saw. And then they'll push out the response from there, which, like I mentioned, there was a call for traffic control point support. So we're out there supporting. So I don't know if you can.
Right, and
That's
so,
our Joint Operations Center.
yeah, we'll go ahead and, Major, I just want to thank you again for the
Oh, you're very
opportunity.
welcome.
Vigilant Guard, how long is these exercises running until?
It's going to go until tomorrow, and then after that, we'll start breaking down and having the after-action reports. But thank you so much for covering it.
Of course, and hey, welcome to Guam to all the visiting troops that are out here for these exercises. Major Joe, we're here at the Guard Readiness Center. My name's Chris. Thanks for watching it, Joss.
Thank you.